Welcome to my Deliberate Drinking Workshop. My name is Greg. I'm a life coach and I help people cut back on their drinking. So what is this workshop? Basically, it's an explanation of how you can use the process that I use as the backbone of my one-on-one coaching. It enables my clients to get to where they can do easy, reliable moderation in about 2 months. And so if you follow the process in this worksheet, my expectation is that if you do it religiously, albeit imperfectly, and I'll explain what I mean by that, you should be able to achieve a 25% reduction in your drinking in the first week. And really more important than that is you'll be on the path to taking control of your drinking. So what we'll be covering is first, what do I mean by deliberate drinking? I've got a little manifesto that I'll share. I want to talk about the general principles that make this program work, that make it maybe a little bit different than things that you've tried before, and I want to talk about a couple of the attitudes that you need to bring to the program to make it work. I'm going to talk about the crux. It's that specific event in your drinking life where success or failure happens, and I'll talk about how really the whole focus of this program is to make it easier to do what you really want to do at that point, at that crux point. I'll give you a general overview of the process so that you can understand the big picture, and then talk about the details, the daily protocol, the actual work that you do every day. And finally, I'll talk about how to use this process to get that first 25% reduction. So what is deliberate drinking? This is a statement that is meaningful to me. You can adopt all or part of it as relevant to you, but it really helps to kind of have a conceptual picture of where you're going at the end. And so my version of this manifesto is that when I drink, it's because I've made a conscious decision that doing so is going to add value to the current moment, that it's going to bring a sensory experience I like, whether that's the taste or the buzz or the accompaniment to food. It's going to improve the social engagement and maybe some other good things that really truly make the current moment maybe a little bit better. And that having this drink won't reduce the quality of my future in terms of my health, weight, and fitness goals, my finances, my motivation, my sense of pride and self-determination, and my ability to pursue a life of growth and expansion. And finally, that I'm not relying on it as a stress reliever, an emotion avoider, or a sleep aid. So as I say, you decide how much of this is relevant to you and create your own little manifesto of what your ideal drinking future would look like. So why is this stuff important? Well, if you're like most of the people that I talk to and work with, the single biggest thing is that they feel out of control, and they hate that feeling of feeling out of control. You might be worried about your health, whether in the short term or the long term. Very often there's a weight issue. People are carrying 10 or 20 pounds, and a lot of that's from the empty calories of the drinking or the bad lifestyle habits and bad eating habits that can go along with it. Sometimes there's issues like feeling like you're not being the parent or the partner that you want to be, and just generally feeling like crap a lot of the time. So what do you want instead? You want to feel in control. You might remember the Seinfeld episode that they talked about being master of their domain, and I think that's what we all want in many areas, and in particular in this drinking area. You want to be able to go to the doctor and get some good lab results in terms of your liver numbers, your cholesterol, blood pressure, and all those things that are affected by drinking. You'd like to look better, feel fit and slim. You want to be present, energized, and engaged in your life. And you want to set a good example for your kids if you have kids. And you just like to feel good. So what is your why? There's an exercise here in part of the bonuses to help you find your why. But it's really important, and it'll give you, we talk about this later in the process, but come up with your why. Put it in the front of your brain, think about it, live into the belief that it could happen for you. And that's going to give you a lot of resolve to get through this process in a comfortable way. So what are some of the principles for, for success? So first, with respect to the program, it's specific and precise. We're not trying to solve the problem of you drink too much. That's kind of a big, general, vague problem hard to solve. We figure out, actually, we create small problems. Basically, why did you have that third drink when you only planned to have two? That's the problem that we solve. So the specific and the specificness and the preciseness of it is really a big factor for success. The program assumes that you're going to screw up. It recognizes that we're all just humans and we don't do things perfectly, especially the first time. We don't create habits naturally. And this program assumes that you're not going to launch into it, do it exactly as prescribed. And in fact, it's in the setbacks that you experience that you get the insights that really make it stick. And kind of a corollary to that is it meets you where you are now. I don't assume that you're a person of intense willpower and discipline who could just put their mind to doing a process and make it work. It assumes that you're a regular person, just like me. A couple of the attitudes that are relevant for you to bring to this is this process demands that you become a scientist of yourself and an advocate for yourself, not a judge. And what that means is that you don't beat yourself up when you don't do the process exactly, that you be nice to yourself, basically. That judgment creates regret and shame. They crowd out the curiosity that you need to make this work. They actually create fuel for drinking more. So this is very important, and I'm going to emphasize this over and over as I go through the workshop. On this subject of being nice to yourself, one of my clients told me at the end of our work together, I asked him, what was one surprising thing about this that made it work? And this is what he had to say. He said, one of the things that was surprising was that there's not this judgmental part to it. If you do drink more than your plan, there's this process, the protocol that you go through with yourself, but there's never any blaming. He said there's an accountability with you, referring to me, but there's no, I drank too much on Saturday night, and if I tell Greg, he's going to yell at me. I never felt like that would happen, and it's amazing how helpful that is. So I want you to keep this in mind, and you're going to be your own coach going through this process. And so be like me in this respect. Give yourself that same grace, that lack of judgment, and that supportive nature.